Yes, sir.
Quite difficult times
Tough
because
time.
there was a war on Iraq. It was very hard to advise and communicate these issues, I think.
I'm already having flashbacks.
Okay, and currently is a representative of the report strategies which were published by you in 2011. If I'm right? If I'm not right, just tell me, okay, you're not right. You can stop, okay? And he assists governments, corporations, universities, and non-profit groups in building long-term relationships by providing superior service and innovative problem solving. This is what was written.
That's what I wrote.
Okay. So these are our guest discussions. It will be about discussions today. So it means there will be just very short speech, introduction to this topic, and then it will be about your questions. I know it's not very easy because of some language barrier and these things. Therefore, there's a slide for you. You see the code there. You can use it. Just ask the question. I know that you are interested in American politics because we are discussing that frequently. So now you get the opportunity to ask someone who really understands that, not we as we try to understand it. And now, at last, I would like to ask Vice Rector of our university, Mr. Schramka, to welcome you here and open this event. Thank you.
So thank you very much, dear guests, dear colleagues, dear students. I would like to warmly welcome you here today. We are honored to host you here. You are so deeply experienced in American politics, speaking about American presidential elections. It's, I can say, quite hot topic today in society. Millions of people all around the world are waiting for the result, especially politicians, leaders of the countries are waiting for the result because I think it will somehow affect the current global, quite difficult situation which we face today. So we really appreciate that you are here today with us to share your knowledge, your perspectives, your experience with our colleagues and students. So I would like to wish you really meaningful, insightful and inspiring discussion and exchange of ideas. So thank you very much again for coming and enjoy the time together and have a nice time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think that now we can start. Markom, if you can start with maybe to add something to that introduction or to say something.
So first of all, thank you, director, professors, and everybody at the university. I hope I'm speaking loud enough so you can hear me in the back row. If not, I'll project even more. And we are here on behalf of and with the U.S. Embassy in Bratislava and with the State Department Speakers Bureau, but we do not speak for the U.S. government, we speak about the U.S. government. And we very much look forward to a dialogue and a discussion about the elections coming up in the United States in less than 2 weeks from today. People are already voting as we speak. Some 15 million plus Americans have already cast their ballots, but the main day is a week from this upcoming Tuesday in November. So it really comes down to the challenge of, you know, no one ever said democracy was going to be easy. And in the United States of America over the past several years, it has been anything but. It is a challenge figuring out what are the facts. What do these candidates actually mean? Who do we want to represent us in the White House and in Washington and the federal government for the next 4 years? It comes down, unfortunately, to a lot of Americans of looking like one candidate is kind of crazy. Another candidate is kind of empty, new to the scene. So the way it's been characterized is crazy, and I'll let you figure out which one that is, and empty. And Americans are trying to figure out, and what the candidates are trying to do is, all right, I might be that, I'm going to fill in and I'm going to become better, and when you go to that voting booth, you're going to fill out your ballot for one of these two people. And politics has changed over the years since when I first started working in politics in the late 1990s, and it's become far more partisan, far more challenging, far more visceral in the language and the way that people treat each other in politics. And I think that's very unfortunate. And it's hopefully something that will improve over time. I think if the election were held today, in current polling and surveys are, Kamala Harris is at 49.2%. Donald Trump is at 48.2%. 2.6%, just 2.6% of Americans are undecided at this point. So it's a very, very close race at this time. And what we want to hope to do is add some insight into what's going on in the United States so that you have a better understanding about what the United States means, what this election means, what it means to relations with Europe, with Slovakia, and with the greater region. So I'll leave it at that, and I'll turn it over to my friend and colleague, former Congressman Jasonom Altmirom.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting us to join you. And I was a political science major when I was in college, and I was always interested in world politics, on how the process worked in other nations. So the opportunity for me to hear from you is exciting also. So don't be shy about asking questions as we're here. And we have a system where it's not in our Constitution, but our political process has evolved where there are two dominant political parties, of course, Republicans and Democrats. And unlike many nations in the world, we do not give power based upon where you finish in an election. If you don't win an election, then you don't get to take power. For us, it's in the Congress, the U.S. Congress, the House and the Senate. I served in the U.S. House of Representatives for 3 terms, and what you find is that you have very hotly contested elections, hard-fought elections, often close, but there's no prize for second place. Whoever wins the election gets to hold that seat. And in the U.S. House, that's for 2 years. In the U.S. Senate, it's for 6 years. And in the presidency, it's for 4 years. And that is on purpose because they wanted it to be different cycles so that the power changed as time went by. And at the presidential level, we have a very unusual circumstance. I'm sure you have learned we have something called the Electoral College, which means it's the winners of the states, the 50 American states, that matters, not the overall vote in the United States. So when you see a poll or you hear somebody talk about who's winning the national vote right now, that really doesn't matter. What matters is who gets the majority of the electoral votes that are awarded by the states. And each state gets a number of electoral votes based upon their population. So when you watch the upcoming presidential race, there are 7 states that are very close right now. The others, we know who's going to win those states. And it is possible, and in fact it has already happened twice in this century, since the year 2000, where the person that won the national vote was not the person who won the presidency. You can become president without winning the popular vote. And that is very confusing to people. I can tell you it's confusing to Americans, let alone other nations that are watching us. So in our election, we have sort of an unusual circumstance for several reasons. One is we have one individual, former American President Donald Trump, who is very well known. He was well known before he ever entered politics. He was a businessman. He was a television star. Now he has already been president once. He's been on the national political scene for 10 years. And in America, everybody has made their mind up about him. And you can decide for yourselves what you think about him. But approximately half of our country really likes him. They like his style. They like the things that he says. They like his policies. And approximately half of the country does not like him and really wants to see him defeated. And we also have, of course, Vice President Harris is running. That's an unusual circumstance because the current president is not running for re-election, and she would be the first woman to ever be elected American president, which is a really big deal. So in her own right, she's a very significant person on the scene. But this election, in my opinion, is not really about her. It's about Donald Trump. And the people who go to vote, they're either going to vote for Donald Trump or against Donald Trump. I think that's the way the campaign is portrayed, and I think that's the way people think about it. And if they vote against Donald Trump and that side wins, Kamala Harris will become president, and she will be president for at least 4 years. So I think that's what to watch for, is when you see polls on a daily basis showing what candidate is winning,